Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick and today we are going to be talking about Cardano's ADA. I'm just on my way back to the studio, and before we jump into the charts I thought I'd just talk through some of the kind of fundamental elements of Cardano. So we've seen recently that total value locked has dropped a little bit. We're about 155 million in TVL right now for ADA, and one of the things with this that I think is pretty important that we kind of talk about is that although the dollar value of ADA has been dropping a little bit, we have actually seen an increase in the amount of ADA that is being locked up, right? So although the price action of ADA has been decreasing recently, that has had an impact on the dollar value of total value locked, as in the TVL. The amount of ADA that's actually been delegated or locked up in DeFi and things like that has actually held incredibly well. Around 600 million ADA is currently locked up. And so what we did see was a peak of total value locked in terms of dollar value back in July. We still see a maintaining level of around 600 million ADA being locked up, which is really positive, and it kind of fills me with a lot of confidence on what I think is likely to come in the future. And so if we take a look at the wallet counts as well when it comes to Cardano, we can of course acknowledge there's 2,832 wallets that have over 1 million ADA in them. Now these particular wallet holders are your large institutional players and things like that, and for the most part these guys haven't really been acting irrationally or illogically or anything like that, not overreacting to price movements. They're actually flat on the year. You see profits being taken from time to time, but for the most part there's no increase or decrease across the last 365 days when it comes to 1 million ADA per wallet. So it's actually reasonably flat. Now, when you take a look at the 100,000 ADA level, there's actually an increase on that. So at the moment we sit at approximately 24,643 wallets. It's actually up about 5.81% in the last 365 days. So this essentially shows us that there's still accumulation happening, specifically as the price of ADA pulls back to the downside ever so slightly. And this gives us some pretty decent encouragement to say that ADA total value locked is growing. We see this at that kind of ADA level, and the TVL on the dollar value is of course decreasing with the price action decreasing ever so slightly, but for the most part it's not terribly too uncommon when you see that, and there's no mass panicking going on there. Actually, from the wallet counts we can see accumulation still is ongoing. And so that's really positive. And the other things that we've kind of noticed in the news over the last kind of 24, 48 hours or so happens to be with the 𝗕𝗘 stablecoin. So 𝗕𝗘𝗪, obviously the issuer of 𝗕𝗘, they have upgraded and done some improvements. So we see additional functionality in there and flow optimizations when it comes to 𝗕𝗘. And they also have lowered the minimum for minting and burning 𝗕𝗘 to 200, which is pretty cool. So I think overall we see some pretty good stuff in the news, and I think this is going to basically help Cardano and specifically the price action of ADA push further forward to the upside over the next little while. So let's go ahead back to the studio and jump into the charts and take a look at what's going on from the price action of ADA as well.
Okay guys, let's jump down into the technical analysis here for Cardano's ADA. We're going to kick things off with ADA paired up with USDT using the BitGet spot exchange on the 1 hour time frame. So as you can kind of see here, we have this zigzaggy pattern to the downside at the moment. Now, there's a couple of different ways of looking and analyzing this particular move. Okay, so we have to be a little bit open-minded until the data kind of suggests to us exactly which pattern we are looking at. The most common one here would be that it's an A, B, and C structure, or a zigzag pattern. And if we go ahead and actually measure that out, we should be ending up approximately at the 1-to-1. And you can see here that we haven't come down to that 1-to-1 just yet. In fact, it was a little bit short of there. Okay, so typically, you know, we've hit the minimums and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the first thing we would look for here. Now, a zigzag pattern is the most common, but it's not the only option. So the other one that could be in play here is more of an extension in a wave 5 position. Okay, so we have a wave 4 and then we have that extension into the 5th wave coming down deeper. Okay, so there's a couple of different things going on here. For the most part, it hasn't really changed our thoughts and patterns on what is going on right now, because, you know, either way we are corrective up here, and we're still looking for further downside. So it doesn't change or distract us from those issues, but essentially it does allow us to maybe look at the fifth wave on the daily time frame looking slightly different. And so for those who do not know, we are targeting out a fifth wave move to the downside here, basically between 21.4456 and 22.8310, and that's under a fourth wave move right here. We failed to break or invalidate it at 28.2, so we have to look at this as a move to the downside, right? So as you can kind of see, we had a trade idea running here. This is one that I hadn't actually entered but was just theoretical, and as you can kind of see, this one here almost liquidated us, but we are in hefty profit, and for the most part looking very, very good. I'm going to remove it so it doesn't cloud our judgment too much, and I'll also remove the fibs. So you can kind of see here that this is where we are now. On the hourly chart here, you can see that the 200 EMA and the 50 EMA are acting both the support and resistance. So the 200 EMA is our resistance, and that is where we're just getting rejected on right now. And the 50 EMA is actually the area of support for us right now. Okay, so we can see that right in there. And so we want to reflect on what this might mean. We're overbought on the 1 hour, 4 hour, 8 hour. We're hitting the resistance. Chances are we're going to be looking for a move to the downside, right? And we can take a look at this also from an Elliott wave theory point of view, with our correction actually looking to have completed here on that 200 EMA as well, meaning that we are now likely to see the next big move to the downside for ADA. Now, if I take this to the daily time frame, you can see that we are still potentially in our wave 3. I don't think we've completed that just yet. Whereas I guess it is possible. I mean, just do the sense checks here on the daily time frame to see whether or not that wick did count. We'll go ahead and just do our sense checks on it. I have a nested position here. So actually, yeah, no, that is correct. It has finished. So that's my bad. So we were actually just looking for we're just looking for that fifth wave movement, which will be our wave 3. So our hourly fifth wave movement that I was just talking about essentially is a wave 3 on our daily time frame, meaning that we'll end up with a wave 4 afterwards. Okay, so that's kind of where that is potentially tracking for us at the moment, and then a fifth wave down later, all of which though is a part of a C wave pattern. Okay, so we're not actually going to do anything too crazy here. We're not talking about, you know, going down even deeper after this. It's essentially just looking like a C wave pattern at this point in time. So we've got a few things that are quite positive there, but we still expect further downside on the daily time frame as well. Okay, so everything's kind of, you know, as you would expect, because we're below the 50 EMA, we're below the 200 EMA, and the 50 EMA is below the 200, and essentially that's all bearish. There's nothing bullish there to kind of get us hopes up about where the price action is going. Now, long term, obviously things are different, right? If we take a look at the daily weekly time frame, you can see that this is the end of our corrective structure since the all-time high, and so this is really where we want to be targeting out and buying right now. Essentially, I have this kind of anchored in around 15.21 to 18.11. This is roughly where I think things are heading overall. This is a previous area of resistance that could turn into our support zone. Ultimately, our Z wave can go deeper if it needed to. It's actually between 7.98 and 19.25. But I think realistically 15 to 18 cent is a pretty nice place for ADA, and I cannot see a structure at the moment that takes us down deeper than that. So this is going to be an interesting one to keep a close eye on, but I'm pretty confident long term. Obviously, we can talk about price appreciation and where things are going. You know, eyes are on 370 upwards towards the 881, and of course potentially even upwards towards $26 if of course everything is permitting. And we're talking a lot about total value locked. We're talking about DeFi being a very, very prominent in Cardano's ecosystem going further forward. And well, yeah, $26. I think that is something that actually can happen if we have the right squeeze on supply and increase in demand. So with 1,200 dApps being built on the ecosystem, with total value locked growing at the ADA level, not really caring too much about the dollar value in the bear market, we can see a recipe for success here on ADA. But obviously, it's a lot of hard work to do that. It's not something that's just going to be a given. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's not something that's going to be easy to do. But there is a path there towards $26 ADA. So let me know what your thoughts are on that in the comments below. How do you feel about total value locked the way that it is right now, about the dApps building on the ecosystem and this bear market for accumulation? Have you accumulated? Have you started accumulating? Are you just going to give this one a miss? Let me know in the comments below. I want to know what your thoughts are on Cardano. And guys, I'm going to leave the video right there. If you have found this useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.